John Walters is on the line. Morning, John.
Morning, guys. You okay?
Had to get him out of bed, I'd say. Kenny, retired now. He's probably just, set the alarm for 9 o'clock. Get up, go down, get the bit of brunch in, feed up for the afternoon.
He's entitled. He's earned it. He's earned it.
Footballers.
I'm still on the way into Burnley.
You're still? I thought you'd retired.
I'm still going in at the moment until the end of the season.
You're
free breakfast.
Yeah.
He gets a free breakfast.
Gets the free physio, the free breakfast, the free lunch. Jeez, it's
I've
a good life.
just stopped off at the services for a coffee. That's where I'm at now.
You want to make sure you don't end up like Kilban, I guess, when you're playing in these charity games in 3 or 4 years and you play for 5 minutes and the body is destroyed for the next 6 months.
He looked a bit heavy, did he, Kev?
Oh, I'll tell you, he was struggling to get to Anfield on Sunday. The old calves are gone.
He's in good company.
So, John, we want to chat to you about. We might talk about Burnley in a minute, and I guess at this stage, there'll probably be a good mood, I'd imagine, in Burnley over the last couple of days after the win at the weekend. Is there a sense that job done, safe?
Yeah, for me it is. I think as long as Cardiff didn't win, I think Burnley was safe. I think they were on 36 points, 39 now. I just think it's impossible for to be caught really in that third relegation spot. So I think it's now between Brighton and Cardiff.
One of the good things from the Sunderland documentary on Netflix was you got to see the club as a whole and how relegation affects so many people. We look at the footballers, and the players generally will move on. Okay, if you're relegated from the Premier League, I'd imagine a lot of them will take a sizable wage deduction. But in Sunderland, I think it was 85 people were let go when they were relegated from the Premier League to the Championship. Is the atmosphere very different at the club, John, when you're in this sort of relegation battle, that people are literally fearing for their livelihoods?
Yeah, I think so. Players, it's a bit different. Players, a lot of contracts now, your wages are sort of cut in half. But I was very mindful of the fact, even years at Stoke, it was, if you go down, it's not the players that are affected as much. It's the staff that are around the club, and it's all the other people, the kit ladies, the guys and girls in the kitchen, the clean staff, the groundsmen. It's all those people, and it can really affect the community if you go down as well, because the money that comes in, investments, even just fans coming every week going to a match. So it's massive, and as players, you tend to forget that a lot. So it's such a big price to get in the Premier League, but to stay there, not just for the players, the club, it's for the local community as well. It's massive. And
I guess as players as well, harsh as it may seem, you sort of need to forget about that, because if you're going onto the pitch with the weight of the entire community of Burnley, of thinking about those staff whose livelihoods depend on you delivering on a Saturday afternoon, you're probably not going to play to your peak.
No, but as soon as you're out there, you prepare all week for the match, and as soon as you're out there, well, personally, as soon as I was playing, you forget anything else, any pressures or anything else you're under. You just go out there and play football. But pressure does do strange things to people. You see it whenever people are put in those situations, whether it be a relegation, the pressure of relegation, or the pressure of being right at the top of the league. Obviously, different kinds of pressure, but as players, you're used to dealing with those situations, and doing so with down the years with Stoke and Ireland as well. I just, once you're out there on the pitch, you're out there, you forget everything, and you're just playing football.
John, you've obviously, a lot of the players individually, a close relationship with the manager there, Sean Dyche of Burnley. Do you think there'll be will it be minor surgery in the summer in terms of players out and players in? It was a funny old season for them this year. Burnley, a bad start to the season, really struggling. Obviously, it's going to finish well for them. They're safe, as you suggested there. But any areas of the pitch you think in particular will need a bit of strengthening going forward?
I think every club looks for a striker, wingers, possibly midfielder. We've got 4 centre-halves at the moment. I think like the James Tarkowski will be courted by a few big clubs, and then we've got this situation with the keepers where we've got Joe Hart, Tom Eaton, and Nick Pope. So you could see one or possibly more leaving. So it's a difficult one. We're a club that I think from anyone from 6 teams, maybe Everton, even now Wolves, the type of player they're going for. Everyone down is in the same pool for players, and it's a very difficult ask because you want Premier League experience. You're probably playing over the odds for players, and everyone's sort of after the same type of player as well. So it's a difficult ask, but that's where your scouts come into the force and
Recruitment,
scouring Europe. You saw Leicester a few years ago where they're picking players from nowhere. So it's a difficult one. It's a fine balance as well.
Yeah, John, what about Robbie and Robbie in particular? Sorry, Robbie and Jeff, but Robbie in particular. Mick spoke about recently about Robbie needing game time going forward. It's going to be a problem for him in the international setup. In terms of how Sean Dyche set up the team latter stage of the season, what role can you see for Robbie potentially going forward at Burnley, kind of in a kind of 4-4-2, 4-3-3? You've seen a lot of him up close, obviously trained. You know his individual qualities. Can you see a role for him? Can you see him nailing down a position going forward at Burnley over the next kind of 12 months under Dyche? And what role and what system ideally?
If I was manager, I'd have Robbie would be one of the first names in the team, without a shadow of a doubt.
Where?
He's had a, well, that's the thing. I've seen Robbie playing in numerous positions. I've played against Robbie left back, and he was a very difficult player to play against. And he's been left wing back, then he's been left wing. He's played inside. He's played behind a striker. He did it for Ireland. If you look at the Italy game, we were very narrow in a diamond.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. So. For Robbie, he just needs to play games. He needs to, and it's a difficult one this year because he was out with a terrible injury, coming back, and he picked up a few little niggles. But then you have Dwight McNeil coming in, who's naturally a centre midfielder, but he's been playing it on the left for Burnley, and he's very talented as well, and he's done really well. But for me, Robbie needs to play, and if he's not going to. I'd like to see him in the team between now and the end of the season. If he doesn't see himself in the team beginning of next year, I think he needs to go and find somewhere to play.
Yeah,
because he needs to be playing. He's such a talent and a great lad as well. So he has all the right attitude for everything. He's spot on. He just came back from a horrendous injury and he's looking sharper than ever as well.
Yeah.
John, I do want to talk to you about the Champions League game tonight, Manchester United and Barcelona. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer talking about restoring the aura to Manchester United, that aura of almost invincibility that they had at certain times. When you started out playing against United, probably in those latter years of the Ferguson era when they were still winning titles and there was still that fear factor at the club. Sorry, or maybe there wasn't. Did you feel when you were playing United around 8-9 years ago that there was that aura of going to Old Trafford still, that you were almost beaten before you got there?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of people felt like that. And then it changed. What we're saying was it changed about 4 or 5 years ago. And teams were going there and getting results. I remember Swansea a couple of years on the run went there and got results, and it was a bit unheard of, really. It was United at Old Trafford were running away with it. We were cruising past teams week after week, and it was never difficult for them. So that's definitely changed at Old Trafford, and it just, since he beat PSG away, they haven't been on a very good run. They got beat probably 4 out of 6, 4 out of 5, 4 out of 6. They won last time round, but they've not been on a great run, and I just can't see them getting anything tonight at Barcelona. Barcelona, I think if you go back, the last time they got beat at home was in November. I think everyone's calling it as a Barcelona win. I just don't see United getting anything out of the game. I know they went to PSG and got an unbelievable result, but yeah, I think it's just too much of a difficult ask for them. I
guess a lot of that aura as well of 8-9 years ago was built around the defence, and Ferdinand and Vidic at the heart of that defence, arguably the best Premier League defence centre-back partnership we've ever seen. Comparing that to where they are now defensively, like as a striker, would you relish going up against this United defence at the moment?
Well, it wouldn't put fear into me as much as a Ferdinand or Vidic. I think that they've been a bit all over the shop for a few years, haven't they? In terms of trying to stick with a defensive partnership and get that right, and I think that's a base to work from. It's always been at United. That's always been the case, and I think just over the past few years he got away from it. He tried to bring in players that hasn't really worked. And, you wouldn't be fearful, and then you think the Barcelona's front three. About how difficult they're going to find that tonight, but obviously it was only 1-0 at Old Trafford. They're still in with a chance, but I just cannot see anything apart from a Barcelona win.
John, I'd be interested in your opinion. Just flip it up the other end of the pitch in terms of United as an attacking force. how you see it tonight, who your preference would be in terms of who you'd pair or what kind of forward line you'd put up there. Obviously the options are Lukaku, Martial, Rashford and Lingard. Invariably one of them misses out. Just talking to Nathan there, potentially if you'd go with the kind of split strikers and Lingard at the top of the diamond maybe tonight, as he has done in the previous couple of games. How do you see yourself? What would be your preference tonight if you're setting this Manchester United team? Which of those forwards that we've just mentioned there would you like to see on the pitch?
I can't remember exactly what formation he went with PSG. Against PSG away. Did he have Lukaku starting or was Lukaku on the bench?
Yeah, Lukaku started, well Rashford wasn't the same as up front too, wasn't he? Yeah.
The only thing I'd say with Barcelona, they're going to keep the ball. So if you press them and you're going to play up high, you're going to have Suarez running behind you. If you drop deep, you're going to have Messi picking up in between the holes. Now, Barcelona will get it from the keeper. They'll play out from the back. So there's not going to be an abundance of space in behind them at Barcelona back forward. I think Lukaku needs that if he's going to be playing. I think Lukaku needs that space to go into, because I don't think, as a striker, when a team are playing deep, he has enough in him to be holding up, linking others in this play with his back to goal. You know, you need a strike that's world class with his back to goal. I think that's where Lukaku possibly falls down a little bit.
I'd be surprised.
They need that space to go in behind.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'd agree with you there, but I'd be surprised for that reason that you said, just don't drop off, allow almost draw Barcelona onto them this evening, PK and Longley towards the halfway line, leave that space in behind, just wait, be patient, just set a few little traps, John, and then look to spring, and the likes of whether it's Lukaku, Rashford or Martial, then to look that pace, use that space down the sides, off the shoulders of those centre halves.
I think it's the impossible task, isn't it? You've had the tactics board out this morning, but I just think it's the impossible task against Barcelona, especially away from home. Now, I'm not too sure whether it was last year or the year before. Was it PSG that went and got a result there?
Yeah.
Someone went and got a result at Barcelona. Now, if I was Solskjaer, I'd be looking at how they did that, and I'm sure he has, because it's, as you said, it's the impossible task. They haven't got beat there since November. They're just so good at home. It's almost back to that Old Trafford aura that United used to have years ago. Well, Barcelona definitely got that.
You see asked the question at Stoke a lot, John, about whether Lionel Messi could do it on a cold Tuesday night.
Oh, I think he'll struggle with that wind, wouldn't he?
He could feed off John. He could feed off a few flick-ons from John, no problem.
We had a few Barcelona boys there, didn't we? We had a few of Bojan. We had a few of their friends, the Barcelona team, come over and watch them, and they were different class. So I'm pretty sure he could.
Just before we let you go, John, have you been following what's going on at the FAI over the past week and the future of John Delaney and the future of the board?
Yeah, I've been just in terms of news reports coming out and the 1,000 statements that keep getting made every day. Yeah, it's all over the shop, isn't it? It's. I think where do we stand at the moment? Has John stepped aside while pending an investigation?
Yeah, he's temporarily stepped aside, it seems, pending an independent review.
Well, it's just whatever's going on there is not right at the moment, and that affects. It's not just affecting the board and affecting there; it's affecting the funding, isn't it? So the funding will go right down to grassroots, and if you start affecting that, that's terrible. That's an awful situation to be in, and that needs to be resolved as quickly as possible. And put personal situations aside. It's got to be whatever's best right through the country from bottom to top. And if the situation is affecting that at the moment, it needs to change.
John Delaney was obviously very much front and centre during your time as a player, as CEO, but the rest of the board we've only really seems to have gotten to know over the past week or so, and certainly not the way they would have wanted us. As players, were you aware of the sort of board setup at the FAI?
No, as a player, you're sheltered from that a little bit. Same as a club, you probably know more at the club because you're in day and day out, but as a player, you don't really see that side of it. You're just in the camp. You train, you play, you're not really involved in that side of it. The only time you really saw John and the board was when you went to away games, for example, when you travel into away games and they were on the plane with you on the way back. I think that's the only real time you come across the board. Now, as I said, I was with Niall Quinn probably 4 weeks ago, and he was quite damning of the situation, and he was adamant it needed to change. And as a person, Niall, you would ask him for his input almost if it needed changing, and what needed changing, because he's been the chairman of Sunderland. He's been there. He knows that level. He knows different sides of football. Whereas players just sheltered from it a little bit. You need someone with the knowledge of the Irish game, knowledge of the grassroots, the knowledge all the way through, and the board experience as well. And I think someone like Niall has got it. I think you will be asking him for his help in any way as well. But as I said, if the situation stays the same and the funding's taken away, and it affects a multitude of things, not just the Aviva Stadium, not just the national team. It spreads, has its roots right through Irish football. And if you're affecting that, that's a big problem for Irish football.
Yeah, John, we'll let you go. Keep taking advantage of those free lunches for the next couple of months.
What's that body fat, John? What's that body fat?